There are very few things I've ever seen in my life, Kai, that offer the potential that silver does. And I want people to understand that when I sell gold and silver, I don't sell it as an investment. To me, it's wealth. It's been wealth for 5,000 years. But when you look at silver, both its supply-demand fundamentals, its price historically, its relationship to gold, its expanding utilities in green and digital applications, not to mention military applications, which ironically, the Silver Institute omits from its supply-demand statistics. I don't think I've ever seen in 34 years in finance a better opportunity than in silver. And I mean that honest to God to my soul.
Andy Schectman is a renowned bullion dealer and the president of Minnesota-based Miles Franklin Precious Metals Investments. Over the past few years, Andy has been consistent in his warnings about the impending collapse of the entire financial system, primarily due to the reckless monetary policies of our leaders. As an American, Andy often uses the example of the United States, which, despite being the issuer of the world's reserve currency, has over $34 trillion in funded liabilities and over $150 trillion in off-balance sheet liabilities. With such massive debts, Andy and other financial experts have warned that the only way forward for the United States is further currency debasement through more excessive printing. With the dollar and other fiat currencies constantly getting debased and devalued at an alarming rate, Andy says it's time to return to tangible assets that have served global investors for thousands of years. Those tangible assets are, of course, precious metals like gold and silver. Andy is particularly more bullish on silver, which he describes as the best investment opportunity he has seen in over 34 years of being an active participant in the financial industry. Andy recently attended the Vancouver Resource Investment Conference, where he spoke to Kai Hoffman about how society is slowly falling apart and the many reasons why silver remains his favorite commodity despite recent price movements. We will now bring you clips from the interview. Please watch, share, and like this video. Also, ensure you subscribe to the channel and turn on post notifications for more videos like this. Thanks and enjoy the video.
When you look at silver, both its supply-demand fundamentals, its price historically, its relationship to gold, its expanding utilities in green and digital applications, not to mention military applications, which ironically, the Silver Institute omits from its supply-demand statistics. Yet one of the guys in my show here just the other day came up to me specifically because last year I said there's 500 ounces of silver in a Tomahawk cruise missile. And he just came up to me and said, listen, I was on that program. And this is all declassified, what I'm going to tell you, he said. And he showed me pictures. He said, why don't you know, you're right. There's almost exactly between, I think he said 15 or 16 or 16 and 17 kilograms of silver in the tip of a Tomahawk cruise missile. And he showed me all sorts of pictures, said, you're right. And it's not just Tomahawks, it's all the high-tech weaponry and aerospace and all of these things where copious amounts of silver are used, yet the Silver Institute ignores it. So from a supply-demand fundamental, where they tell us we're 200 plus million ounces, again, a shortfall in 2023, similar to 2022, yet expansion in uses, and an asset that's priced right now at about 80 to 1 in its relation to gold, yet it's coming out of the ground at 7 to 1. There's so many reasons I could sit here and talk for much longer than 20 minutes about the value and the fundamentals and the potential of silver that at the same time to me is intrinsic historical wealth. I don't think I've ever seen in 34 years in finance a better opportunity than in silver. And I mean that honest to God to my soul. What does the military industrial complex do? It funds wars all around the world and has for years, provides the weaponry. And like even listening to Biden talk about what's going on in the Ukraine, so we will always give them the ability to protect themselves with weapons. So we're selling them weapons that, a $2 million warhead, that boom, it blows up. And well, there goes 500 ounces of silver. And how many times are those being fired? Boom, 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 boom. So if you want to continue to be the military industrial complex to fund this massive machine of wealth and death, well, the only way to do it is to keep the most important part of that asset that you need to build that machine and all of its tools. You keep it out of the limelight. You do that. I mean, ask yourself, Kai, why would 4 or 5 commercial banks have the U.S. or Western-based commercial banks hold the largest short position in any commodity traded on COMEX? Why silver? Why it's as dumb as a mud wall when you think of it logically. Why? Gold is running because gold's not used in military applications, and if it is only a very small amount, but why would they short the hell out of a commodity like silver at a time when a country like India over the last 2 years is about 400 million ounces? That's more than's on COMEX. So the point of it is that, again, Occam's razor, what's the most logical answer? Well, that's to me it. When you look at the supply-demand fundamentals from the Silver Institute, they'll tell you that solar panels was the biggest use. No, it's not. It's military applications, which strangely enough is omitted. First of all, when we talk about the price, right? The price of silver on the last day of the year in Shanghai was $2.25 higher than it was on COMEX, a 10% difference in price. So, when you talk about the real value of silver, they're slowly turning up the heat in Shanghai, where they're creating an arbitrage event where traders in London and Chicago and New York will buy silver off of the COMEX and the LBMA and deliver it for an arbitrage of over 10%, which is big in the arbitrage world in Shanghai, and ain't never coming back at that point. So again, the suppression of the price is masking the real value.
There are definitely a lot of factors masking the real value of silver. The chief factor is, of course, the constant manipulation of prices by large commercial banks and other financial institutions in the United States. Though the gold market is also manipulated through constant spoofing and large short positions, the silver market is more manipulated because it is considerably smaller and easier to suppress. However, Andy and other precious metals analysts and commentators believe it is best to take the current low prices as an opportunity to buy more silver in preparation for what's coming. These renowned investors believe silver does not present an opportunity to make large gains in the short term, but that it serves as insurance against the inevitable collapse of the financial system. This collapse will include the imposition of central bank digital currencies, which will be even easier to debase and devalue. Let's get back to Andy's interview. This time he speaks further about silver and the logarithmic decay of the financial system and societal values.
When you talk about recession, I don't know if I want to lump silver into the Dr. Copper story where it's showing us a recession is coming. I would rather point to the inversion of the yield curve, which 11 out of the last 11 inversions has been a precursor to a recession. So to me, technical analysis or looking at silver in that way in a rigged market sends maybe incorrect signals. I look to the fact that the big money is accumulating silver, and it's very counterintuitive. It's being held down even when we didn't see a recession on the horizon. So I think it's one of these deals, Kai, where you can only suppress a market over an extended period of time by pushing it in the direction that it is going. And for a very long time, no one cared about gold or silver. They just wanted treasuries and U.S.-based securities and real estate. No one cared about it. Things are changing, and I think silver will have its day. And you can see that by a country like India, who purchased so much silver over the last 2 years, or China, who's been buying it, or all of these countries slowly draining the exchanges. Silver will have its day. And the fundamentals, I think, speak to that. I guess we'll have to see how it plays out.
What was the theme of your presentation?
The whole theme is logarithmic decay, which I think is an appropriate way of describing a lot of things that are happening around us, socially, morally, economically, culturally, where things are being chipped away at whitewashing, if you will, whether it be culturally, whether it be economically, whether it be the judicial system, whether it be the mismanagement of the dollar. All of these things, little by little by little by little by little, are chipping away. And the question is, when is that all at once moment? Whether you're talking things like cancel culture, like censorship, like the questions surrounding the elections, where a third of the country believes that they weren't fair, whether you're talking about the way we're perceived globally, or the mismanagement of the dollar, or the growing coalition of countries, BRICS, and all of these things that are little by little by little chipping away at the culture of this country and of potentially the world reserve currency. So I find it to be a very appropriate way of describing, in my mind, the world that I see. Someone who I think is one of the smartest guys in the world. He used to work behind the scenes at the New York Fed. He understands the plumbing of the system, maybe better than anyone. And he talks about this being Bretton Woods 3. Where Bretton Woods 1 was when we took over for the pound sterling at the end of World War II. And Bretton Woods 2, loosely, basically, was when, after we closed the gold window, we became the petrodollar. Bretton Woods 3, he says, is a system that will be denoted and denominated by, or described by, rather, transparency, maybe blockchain, and commodities. So I think we are heading away from debt instruments and opaque debt instruments at that, like treasuries and bonds, which have been shed by a lot of the wealthy countries in the world who are selling bonds and treasuries, and into things like commodities. And it doesn't just have to be gold and silver. It could be things like copper, it could be uranium, it could be liquid natural gas, it could be oil, it could be farmland, agricultural ETFs. It's things that are tangible that you need instead of promises by a government. And if you think, Kai, a bond, which is in essence debt issued by a government or a corporation, has a very short time frame of it being considered an asset in the world stage, whereas gold has a 5,000-year history of it. And so I think whether you're talking gold or any commodity, I think Zoltan is right. This is a system where transparency in commodities will be the way to, or the pathway, I think, to, in terms of the next level of opportunity and investment, or the next thing is commodities. So broadly diversify within the primary trend, and to me, the primary trend is of rising commodity prices. So broadly diversify within that sector.
On a lighter note, the Silver Institute has reported that 2024 could be a banner year for silver. According to a recent report from the Global Silver Institute, global silver demand is forecast to reach 1.2 billion ounces in 2024, which would mark the second highest level on record, following the 1.242 billion ounces recorded in 2022. In its report, the Institute said, stronger industrial offtake is a principal catalyst for the rising global demand for the white metal, and the sector should hit a new annual high this year. We think silver will have a terrific year, especially in terms of demand. Michael DiRienzo, executive director of the Silver Institute, also said he expects silver prices to reach $30 per ounce, which would be a 10-year high for the white metal. Please share your thoughts on Andy's interview and the Silver Institute's report in the comments section below. If you are yet to do so, also ensure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on post notifications for more videos. Thanks for watching.